Hello and welcome to the second tutorial video in our 4-part tutorial series on how to use Robotis' Dynamixel SDK. In this episode, we will go over the hardware setup. Firstly, you will need to choose how to communicate with Dynamixel. You can control Dynamixel via PC or via controller or SBC. If you would like to control Dynamixel via PC, you will need the USB to Dynamixel adapter shown here. The USB to Dynamixel signal converter connects to your PC's USB port so that you can control a network of Dynamixels from your PC. The USB to Dynamixel has 3 output modes: TTL, RS485, and RS232. You can switch between modes by flipping the switch located on the side of the USB to Dynamixel. To communicate with Dynamixel, you will need to flip the switch to TTL or RS485. Since we will be using one MX28T in this example, which is a TTL-based Dynamixel, we will flip the switch to TTL mode. The SDK and its examples were developed based on the USB to Dynamixel, so in this tutorial series we will be using the USB to Dynamixel. Of course, you can use your own controller or SBC as long as it is able to communicate with Dynamixel. Dynamixels communicate via half-duplex UART at TTL or RS485 level signals. If you use your own SBC, you will need to optimize your code for that specific board. Here, you can see a list of common SBCs that have been tested or will be tested with Dynamixel on various operating systems. Next, you will need to connect your MX28T to your PC via USB to Dynamixel and change its ID. You will need the following: a 12-volt power supply. In this case, I will be using this 12-volt 5-amp SMPS with the SMPS to Dynamixel, a module that forwards power to Dynamixel, one MX28T Dynamixel, and of course, one USB to Dynamixel. First, connect the MX28T to the USB to Dynamixel via a 3P cable. Since we are using an MX28T, we have flipped the switch on the USB to Dynamixel to TTL. Next, connect the USB to Dynamixel to your PC's USB port. We recommend using a USB hub. The driver will automatically install. If it doesn't, please manually install the driver by following these procedures. Then connect the MX28T to the SMPS to Dynamixel via a 3P cable. Finally, connect the SMPS to the SMPS to Dynamixel. The LED on the back of the Dynamixel will blink red once upon powering, indicating a successful connection. Now that you have connected your Dynamixel to your PC, you will need to check its ID and make sure that it is 1, as this is the ID used in the read-write example. In order to do this, you will need to access the MX28T's control table in Dynamixel Wizard. Dynamixel Wizard is part of Robotis' RoboPlus suite of software. It provides an easy way to manage Dynamixels via USB to Dynamixel, including Dynamixel firmware update and recovery, Dynamixel calibration, and control table access. If you are using an XM430 or Dynamixel Pro, you can use R+ Manager 2.0. R+ Manager 2.0 combines the features of RoboPlus Manager and Dynamixel Wizard. At the time this video was filmed on August 9th, 2016, R+ Manager 2.0 is still only compatible with Dynamixel 2.0 Dynamixels, i.e. the X series and the Pros. In this tutorial video, we will be using Dynamixel Wizard. You can install both RoboPlus and R+ Manager 2.0 by going to www.robotis.com. Under Support, click on Downloads, then click on Software to access the latest software. The latest versions of the software are indicated by the red notice sign. Please note that RoboPlus and R+ Manager 2.0 are only compatible with Windows at this time. If you have successfully installed Robo Plus, run the software and start Dynamixel Wizard. Choose the correct COM port number. To check the USB to Dynamixel's COM port number, go to Device Manager, expand the Ports COM and LPT tree, and search for USB serial port. In this case, my COM port number is 5, so I will go back to Dynamixel Wizard, choose COM5 from the drop-down menu, and click the Open Port icon. Under DXL 1.0, click Start Searching. Once your MX28 is found, click Stop Searching and click on the MX28 to access its control table. Next, to ID, check that the ID of your MX28 is 1. If it isn't, change it. Please note that all Dynamixels have a factory ID of 1. Make sure that you don't daisy chain Dynamixels of the same ID before changing their IDs. Once you have made all the necessary changes, click the Close Port icon. Your hardware preparation is now complete. In the next tutorial video, we will show you how to prepare the necessary software to use Robotis' Dynamixel SDK.